Right, everybody, we are here with a big match. Why is this so big? Because this match is a tiebreaker for the World Championship. That's right. This is, of course, a game from this week's EU Weekly. It's the quarterfinals that we are casting these replays of. Down here in the bottom right, we've got Showtime in the red. And in the bottom left, it's Shopify Rebellion's Lambo. So big esports Showtime Berlin International Gaming up against Shopify Rebellion's Lambo. Now, this is really important because, guys, Showtime has just taken the lead. He's at 742 points in the rankings versus the 740 of Lambo. But if Lambo beats him here, he gets to the semis, he gets a minimum of 2 points, which would tie. And if he ties, that counts as a win for him. The reason is, if they are tied, it goes down to who has more global points, who has more points, not just in regional European competitions, as this is, of course, Germany versus Germany, but who actually won more of those tournaments that also had players from all around the world in it. And that was Lambo, who made it to the grand finals of the next tournament, gave him a whopping massive number of, I think, like 190 points. And therefore, if he wins this, and this is the very last tournament, by the way, for those who don't know, this is the very last chance for these players to get points, then basically he takes that spot in the round of 24 at the World Championship. The group stage gets seeded in, immediately gets $2,000 prize money minimum, just even if he bombs out in that group stage. And Showtime, if that's the case, would have to play the round of 36, which is, you know, you've got, is it round of 36? I think it is round of 36, right? And then you've got like 14 players in that round of 36 who are going to be fighting for just 4 spots in the round of 24. So joining the 20 players, I think 16 players, sorry, fighting for 4 spots, actually, I think it's correct. Never mind, something like that. Either way, basically you've got a lot of players, and they're incredible players fighting for very few spots. That's the point that I'm getting at. Wow, that took me a long time to explain. By God, I suck at describing point systems, don't I? Long story short, one of these guys gets $2,000 in a much easier run in the World Championships. If Lambo wins, it'll be him. If Lambo loses, Showtime will be getting that seed. So this is a really intense match. Obviously, 2 guys who are both hailing from Germany. And they're both, to be fair, 2 of the more handsome kind of healthy, fit, fucking non-classic, you know, try-hard RTS nerd-looking gamers out there. You know, there's Goody on one end of the spectrum, who's got the big metal beard and whatnot, and plays at glacial speed. Looks more like a classic RTS gamer. These 2 are both handsome, fit nerds that go jogging and do lots of push-ups and play sport and shit. So they're the next generation of elite RTS gamer, I guess. No hate on Goody. I love you, Goody. Goody's a legend. The OG Panzer General. Of course, a classic German pro player from the early days of StarCraft 2 and before. Now, this looks like pretty standard openings so far, guys. I haven't talked about it too much, but it was a Stargate. The Overlord is going to, after seeing the second Adept popped, go in, and we'll see that this is an Oracle opening. Showtime loves skipping Void Rays, going for Oracles, and looking for the Adept Oracle damage. Can he find it? There's those drones going to try and run. He does an Evo Chamber, but doesn't really achieve anything, as the Adepts are already going in the other direction. And oh, he cancels the Shade. Grabs 2 drones. Nice move by Showtime, who gets both Adepts out as well. Can grab probably a Zergling or 2 on the way out, but oh, Link Speed's here. And that should be a dead Adept. But wait, oh, good juking. He actually manages to survive for 3 seconds longer. Those Lings, I think they catch him, unless he shades immediately. He's running. He's running. The Lings, they are not going to find it. Yeah. And the Oracle's even like, hey, dickhead. And gets just a single Zergling. Does need to turn that laser beam off, as it does drain energy the longer it's turned on. All right, guys. We've got the pylon over at the 3rd base as well there. He's going to be going for that 3rd base. Now, this is not the quickest 3rd. 4 minutes. But, I mean, he's built 3 Adepts, and he's not missed a beat with his Oracles, so that in itself is not really a tell. I know Lambo sometimes, if he sees that 3rd a little late, he will think it's Twilight Council into Adepts. I also think the same thing sometimes. Guys, there's no Spore in the main. Double Oracle versus 2 Queens. 2 Queens cannot defend double Oracle. They can dive in and kill like 8 drones here, potentially. Lambo, though, he does run forward to intercept, so it's really dangerous for Showtime to commit. He doesn't know that there's no Spore there. If he ran past, he could have found some pretty good damage. Spore on the natural, of course. No Spore on the 3rd either. Very good Queen count. Is Lambo going to Queen walk is the question. Well, it's 4 minutes 40. We haven't seen gases. We haven't seen a Roach Roaring. The answer is no. He will not. 3rd base most of the way done. Robo down for Showtime. I think he's going to be going straight for Disruptors, potentially. If he verifies it's not a Queen walk, he won't bother. But yeah, he's got the Forge as well. So normally Cannons and Disruptors pretty good against those Queen Walks. I don't know if it would get up in time, actually. I feel like the Queens and Roaches would already be at his base if that was the case. But sees an Evo Chamber. He doesn't see any Roaches or Queens leaving the base. It's past 5 minutes. I think he knows it's kind of past time where that would have eventuated by now. Adept's doing a pretty good job here. I mean, that's a total of 4 drones. Could get one more if he focuses, but doesn't quite go for it. Triple Oracle in the main. There's still no Spore. Showtime, he's umming and ahhing about this. Finally goes for it. And I would like to see him disengage with the red hit point Oracle and then still try and use the others. And that's a lot of damage. 9 workers. 2 more Adepts running in the front. Looks a bit of a derp there from Showtime. Very focused on controlling those Oracles, which are going to come down. And in case the Zerglings surrounded the Adepts, he could have, of course, turned on those laser beams and punished them. +1 and Immortal production is on the way. He's going to be going charge. Expect a Twilight Council any moment now from Showtime as he transitions into ground play. Robobay does go down as well. Fascinating. Okay, 4th base on the gold for Lambo. He's going to go Ravager Bane. Okay, this is... Where is that Twilight Council? Where is it? Okay, Twilight Council goes down now. Interesting. Showtime's trying to figure out exactly what Lambo's up to. He's going to see this gold base in the near future. And Phoenix is going around the back. He's looking for tech. He's looking for signs. But Lambo's not really making any signs of making big plays. I mean, he's on 6 queens. He's just macroing. I would argue Showtime has a little bit of a lead with how the early game's gone so far, but 4 more drones. Does lose an Oracle for that one, though. So 15 drones have gone down, but the Oracle does fall finally. Could be Blink off this, right? Yeah, he's already got Blink Stalker Sentry with the Immortal, and he's going to move up to threaten that base. Blink does start up here. Okay, he's not going to be going for the charge style. Does he only have 5 gateways? Okay, that's not a lot of gateways for Showtime. Hello, Showtime. Are we taking a 4th? Are we taking... where's your minerals going? There we go. 4th base goes down behind this. And to show that decision, this looks pretty good for Lambo. I would think. Cancels the Spore Crawler there. Now, obviously, Showtime can force field. He can pull back up. Oh, caught out in the open a little bit. He's got the Oracles to help guard these units. He's also got Recall available. He's kept Lambo from droning up that 3rd base, or 4th base, I should say. Lambo's still on 68 workers, building Roaches, building Banelings. I mean, it's an okay spot for Lambo. But when the Protoss is already getting their 4th up, adding Disruptors and Blink Stalkers, and you're just on this basic army, I mean... He's basically all in with Roach speed, with Baneling speed kicking in 20 seconds. He's going to break these rocks and smash. Now, Showtime knows this is coming because he's seen no drones on the 4th, and he knows the Zerg feels like they need to do something with this giant army they've built. Watch out for the ball. I think Showtime should actually be really patient and hold that back as long as he can. You know, really show some patience. People have said if you have the ability to show delayed gratification, it's a sign of success later in life. Let's see if it works out here. Kenny, oh, 1 ball does explode on Lambo. Doesn't get the craziest hit. Lambo with a pretty good spready, and he's breaking down this stuff. The army is so far back for Showtime. I'm a little surprised that his Stalkers aren't further forward. But, I mean, a pretty mature choice to just fall so far back and give up the 4th base. Showtime, I'm surprised he's not looking to shave more units off. That's what I'm a little surprised by here. I mean, obviously he says, look, the way I lose this game is losing this army. That's how I would lose the game. Oh, great Disruptor shot. Gets the Roachling Bane trying to withdraw right now. Lambo kills the 4th, but is he happy with that? As the Protoss, I always say something, guys. What do we say? PvZ, it's good. It's easy as the Zerg to get tunnel visioned on damaging the economy of the other player. What really matters is making that army smaller. You go for the economy to try to bait them into the open to defend it, to split their army up. That's where you kill their army. That's where you get ahead. Now Lambo is like, he's still got a big ball of scary units. Archons are being added. Disruptor count's grown a little bit, and he's got to kind of wonder to himself, am I going to have time to get to Hive Tech? Because my Infestation Pit, yeah, it's there. I'm going to go Hive and Spire next, and the Revelation will see it. You know he's not going to delay it. Lambo's going to click that the moment that's done, because he knows he needs Broodlord Tech as quickly as possible. Come on, mate. There's no delaying. Is he actually going to wait for Revelation to wear off? He might. He might. He's making a lot of Ling Bane right now. He's expecting a counterattack. He's got his own Baneling run by on the top. He's going to go for this base, but a pretty good wall off so far there. And Revelation's worn off. As soon as it wears off, Hive goes down. And I expect a Spire as well, but he's not opting for it just yet. Looks like he might be thinking about Vipers, but I think High Templar will beat him on that Baneling's just going to go for whatever's exposed here. Quite a few probes transferring, and not a bad wave of Banelings. 10 probes, a cannon. It's quite a lot of Banelings that go down for that sort of fight, but that's the thing. And oh my god, I tried to show a battle report there, guys, and it turns out we are not on the battle report mod, so we get an instant replay. How cool is that? Yeah, that was about 16 Banelings, so not a very cost-efficient trade, but Zerg does have money to spare, and you do have 81 drones up as the Zerg player, so I hope you guys enjoy that accidental instant replay. That was totally the intention all along. If he gets a big surround, the Zerg army can always do it, but if Protoss pulls back up a choke, if he lands a few good disruptor shots, I mean, having big chunky Archons that you really want to kind of clump up on, oh man, with disruptors behind him is so scary, and that run by gets caught. Good split on it from Lambo. He's trying to set up a big kind of 270 surround potentially. Hive's there, but remember, no Spire. He could play Ultras, but as the Immortal Archon count grows, Ultras aren't the best. Archons tank very well against them. They kill Ling Bane very well, and Immortals in the backline do great damage. I really would love to see a second Robo from Showtime here, just to give him that flexibility. It's a very cheap structure, and it does allow you to replenish Disruptors if we stay against this Lair Tech army, Immortals if it's Ultras, and add Observers and whatnot as well. Ling Bane in the top right gets cleaned up, guys. This efficiency is getting out of control. Showtime at 2-to-1 efficiency at this point. And Lambo, I mean, he's going to start saturating his 5th base, but what's he doing? His Hive's finished. He doesn't have a Spire. He's stuck on a Lair Tech army. Showtime comes out into the open, and the Banelings are going to find decent connections on, well, in terms of compact units, but it's all Archons. Archons can absorb so many Banelings. The Stalker Disruptor Archon happy to take that fight, and Lambo's army washes up on it. He's desperately trying to remax. He's out of lava right now. Looks like he missed a couple of injects potentially here. And Showtime, I mean, he's just been really ahead all throughout, building the strength of that army over time. And without anything like a Great Aspire to be heading towards, I mean, that's an issue. No Great Aspire. It's definitely an issue, guys. He's got nothing to look forward to in terms of attack. He's stuck on Ravager Ling Bane. And, I actually think if Showtime played a bit differently, maybe this is the right call from Lambo. But with the way Showtime played so conservatively, I do think Lambo could have actually made it up to that Hive Tech in time. Let's see how the Disruptors go. Showtime's such a conservative player, but he's landing great big ball hits. He got the 5th base. Good pullback to dodge the Biles. Archons are starting to fall. Love to see Lambo focus that one down, and he does before disengaging, but when the Stalkers outnumber the Roach Ravager Zergling, that's when you know you're in trouble. He's just going to push on forward, and Showtime here, he wants that spot in the World Championship, and he knows he's got to beat Lambo here to stop Lambo from pushing him out of that spot. Showtime fought so hard to get those points to get ahead. But there we go. Showtime takes map 1. All right, guys, let's get into the second game. Very standard opening so far. Shopify Rebellion's Lambo in the bottom right, going for Hatch Gas Pool, and Showtime up here in the top left actually just went for a Gate Scout, which is why this hatchery is allowed to take on the natural. A lot of players like to go over there early and force the Zerg to take the 3rd base. He did not do it, though. What do we got? Adept. No Warp Gate. Lambo sees this. He says, that's not spinning, therefore you're playing Stargate. And Showtime, not the trickiest player. Wait, is he going Stargate in the wall? Oh, that's interesting. But why? How bizarre. He's building his Stargate in the wall. Does that mean he wants to stay 1 gate? He might not be wanting to build a 2nd gateway. Keep our eyes on Showtime's build order. This might be a tricky one. Now, this map's very good for Queen Walk, remember. And I'm honestly, if I'm Showtime, my whole plan is just blind counter the Queen Walk that you know is going to come. Adept's going to come in. Notice he's sending the Shade to scout. He sees 4 Zerglings. Okay, no point committing into that. Sees the 3rd base as well. And 2nd Adept's going to arrive. He wants to pair those up. Notice he's opened a hole there, and a hole's been opened there, which gives him a much quicker distance between these bases. Oracle's going to come out. Lambo comes in and says, oh, Stargate's in the wall. Okay, whatever, dude, if you want. And only 4 Zerglings out right now. The Adept's going to pick off 2 of those, make it 3, and he's going to dive into the main, but 4 more Zerglings pop just in time, and that's a very good cleanup for Lambo. Loses 3 Zerglings and a drone for 2 Adepts. 2-to-1 trade, and only 1 drone as well, which is especially nice. 7 Zerglings, a really nice count to try and slow the 3rd base from getting down. think the Oracle has to guard the third after the way that went. Showtime realizes this. He's like, yep, I need to leave the Oracle here. I can't go across the map and go for the drones. Overlord hiding over there as well. Remember, Showtime, not a fan of the Void Ray, man. Feels it's a bit too expensive, I guess. Just loves doing triple Oracle. He's been playing the same style in PvZ for a long time, and I do feel Showtime's a little more fragile than some of these other players. And maybe it is that predictability with the fact that he's not going to play Void Rays very often against you. That being said, if you play against his Adept Oracle, you really will feel the might of that aggression. Single Phoenix! So he's going to go for the very cheap Void Ray. I always feel like, why not just get a Void Ray? Since it's not much more expensive than a Phoenix. It's like an extra 50 minerals, an extra 50 gas. And yeah, it's a bit slower, but it's going to kill Overlords much quicker. It can, of course, deal with Zergling, Roach counterattacks and things like that. So personally, my way of doing it. Guys, if Showtime wins this game, Lambo is going to have to play that play-in stage at the World Championships, and that would really suck for him. So keep our eyes on both these players' builds. It is still only... No, he did build a second gateway in the main. He just built it a bit later than normal. Robo, third gate, and a Forge. Interesting. Adepts are going to shade forward. He's going to try and do some damage to some Zerglings up there. This Overlord kind of looks like it might be used as an elevator later, but you need a lair for that. Massive supply block on 66 for Lambo. But I think Lambo's going for a Queen Walk, so I don't know if it really matters because he wasn't planning to drone. He's at the 48 drones, which is the intended count anyway. Yeah, Roaches are about to queue up right now, guys. 10 Roaches will queue up, and okay, Oracles. He picks up one of the Queens. Very cute there. Gets 3, 4, 5 drones, and barely gets out of there with that red hit point Oracle, but 11 Roaches are in production right now. And honestly, how do you defend this? An Immortals building, you got to get warping in off these gateways and warp in non-stop, as well as get multiple batteries. He's making sentries, which seem kind of nice, but all they do is buy you a moment of time. They don't do much else than that. The Queens are already walking, man, and he's already up there. The Oracles are like, hey, are the Queens going to move out? He sees the Roaches coming. Shield battery needs to go up in that natural right now. This is hitting hard and fast. Another drone arrives and opens this up. Where is that Immortal, by the way? That Immortal still has not popped. There we go. Going to pop out right now. Another Immortal's on the way. A few Adepts to deal with the Zerglings. Immortals to deal with the Roaches. Sentries to slow things down. Third base is potentially going to get ransacked. The cannons aren't ready. Oracles need to turn those lasers on and hold position. Notice he's going to hold position those to keep the Zerglings back. Watch out, Oracle! Oracle almost dies to the Biles there. And look at this. Yeah, that third's going to get taken out. This is not that fast a Queen Walk. Killing the third is all you need to get ahead here as Lambo. And he's going to kill that third. I said you got to do a build that's going to blind counter or deal with a Queen Walk. No Dark Templar coming out of Showtime, though. I think the Dark Templar play would have been an absolute winner here. As it is, he's still got a good army together, does Showtime, but he's afraid to fight out there in the open with very good reason. Droning already on the way behind this for Lambo. He's making a lair, he's making an Evo chamber, and he also wants to pick off these buildings in the wall. He does not want to engage in there. If I were him, I'd send all the Queens home, and yeah, he's starting to walk 2 of them. He's leaving 1 Queen, 4 Ravagers here. The Oracles are going to try to do some more damage, hoping to catch a base with very little defense. So what he's going to do is he'll send the Phoenix in front, and he'll hope that it both picks up the Queen and tanks the Spore shots. But where's the micro? And you see Lambo immediately retargeted that on the Oracle. So only 4 drones go down. If he didn't retarget that, it would have kept shooting the Phoenix. Oracles could have killed 10, 15 drones there and then flown away. So always pay attention if someone does that move, guys. We've got a 1 hit point and a 22 hit point Oracle. It's the 2-base Showtime, who's now going to limp out to a 3rd base. He's got the Forge on the way. The Twilight Council is there. 3rd base going to be going down, and he's going to add Disruptors. Yeah, the big comeback unit for Protoss here. He says, well, if I get a firm set of balls, maybe I get some big old explosions on my opponent's clumped up Roach Ravager. Maybe, just maybe. Overlord is going to go down there as well. So Phoenix has got some good value, you know, enabling those Oracles and so on. But Overseer's going to see everything. Zergling's coming on in. Infestation Pit's going down a lot faster for Lambo. So do we think he makes a play for Hive Tech this game? I would not be surprised if he both goes to Hive Tech and tries to hit a timing. He hasn't really started droning his 4th a lot. He's just built 3 drones. And if he wants to play economically, which he absolutely could, I would expect another 10, 15 drones queuing up very soon. Not just stopping at 70, 75, but going right up to 80, 85 workers in. There we go. Yeah, he's going to be going up into the 80s. Blinkers on the way, as well as a DT shrine. DTs, of course, are a more gas-light version of the Archon. 250 minerals, 250 gas per Archon. If you use Dark Templar, if you use High Templar, it is only 100 minerals, but it costs 300 gas. So you can see the difference there, right? You pay an extra 150 minerals on each Archon, but you save 50 gas. Now, some people, myself included, are like, screw that. I'd rather have a few Zealots and just do some run-bys with them. Obviously, Zealots aren't the most useful in big fights, but they're great for run-bys. They're great for warp-ins and drops. Maybe have an extra cannon instead. But Showtime apparently says, no. Gas is the most important resource here, mate. These Archons, I want to build that Death Ball. I want to build that beautiful, beautiful Death Ball. Hive's on the way, still no Spire, though. So it looks like Lambo, a big fan of just getting Adrenal Glands at that stage. And, I mean, there's different ways of playing this. It's not like going Greatest Spire's the only way to play. It's great at my level. Maybe Lambo has a very good reason why it's not so good against Showtime. Ultra Cavern is always potentially very useful as well, like I mentioned in that previous game. Oh, Lingbane cancel on the 4th base, and the Banelings just blow up the pylon and the 2 Dark Templar with the splash damage. Very nice play from Lambo. Says, I might not be able to see you, but I can blow up either manually or on something next to you, and it'll get things done. Nice adept drop here. They do not have glaives, but remember, this unit is kind of a throwaway unit at this stage of the game. Not good in frontal fights. Might as well use them for the one thing they excel at, and that's killing drones. Ow. Does lose a lot of hit points on that Prism. 4th base going up in the top again. Spire now goes down, but as I said before, Lambo, he's maxed, and he's on a composition that I don't particularly enjoy. Just Ravager Bane. He's far enough ahead that I still give him a massive lead here, but he's got to do something with it. He should be feeling urgency. He is maxed out. He's been maxed out for a few seconds already. You don't really want to be sitting on max, because every second that goes by, Showtime's army supply is going to close that gap little by little. Big stasis trap doesn't get too many of the big important units. Disruptor on the left side is going to get caught out. Army on the top right ran away for Lambo. You could see on the minimap there. And, oh, manages to get the Disruptor through the battery overcharge. Just barely. Probes evacuating. Great force field. Good trap. And the Baneling's going to get taken out on the retreat. Disruptor lands in the center. Lambo unable to get those Banelings out, but he runs in on the right side. If he can cancel that base, that could be big. He runs back in on the left as well. Showtime's probes. Oh my god. Refugee Hunters is the game that Lambo's playing right now. Showtime has so few units. He's trying to chase the army in the top right. Great chase with the Archon Stalker there, but he will lose this 3rd base as the price. 3rd base goes down. You know what, though? I think this is about as good as things could have gone for Showtime. Showtime, though, starts up carriers, and that's a fucking travesty, in my opinion. You guys have heard my thoughts about people making carriers off 120, 130 supply. Showtime might be on 140 supply. I mean, a couple carriers, it does complicate things. It makes it hard for Lambo to have the right units. I don't know. I just feel like right now, to not be using your Robo, come on, man. Disruptors, more Immortals, get more units out. Spend your money on ground army, because you know Lambo's coming for round 2. Lambo's committed on 76 drones. Lambo did not go up that tech tree. He's made a hive just for Vipers. And I was looking at this on Blackbear. I was like, maybe it's just for Vipers? That can work. And especially this makes sense in the meta against Showtime, because what have we seen from Showtime? He likes the DT Archons. He doesn't have a Templar Archives. He cannot build High Templar to feedback. Now, Abduct is not going to do anything to the carriers, right? But he's going to abduct the Disruptors so they can't fire. You take the Disruptors out of this army, it's a much simpler equation for the Zerg. Banelings run into the Sentry Archon. Traps a couple of them, but still a big army out there roaming. Showtime's been in a very playable position. If he can just survive another minute or two, he's trying to get Cannon Battery up here. Watch out, though. Watch out. Abducts the Archon. Ooh, very good move command on the Banelings to make sure Lambo doesn't blow up on the Archons. He's rolling forward. This is an absolute cascade, a bukkake of Banelings and Roaches coming forwards. That means cascade. It means waterfall. Japanese lesson right here in the middle of a fight. Banelings going after the probes. Will they find them? Big Disruptor shot. Hits a lot of the Roaches. Oh, 14 probes go down, and the probes not spreading. He's just got too much to control in the midst of this fight. And Showtime trying to handle that. I think if he spread the probes, maybe he'd come out of this okay. But now you've got Lambo, who's got a pack of Corruptors for the carriers, and Showtime's economy is just being blitzed. 48 probes versus 85. He does a desperate Stalker carrier Disruptor counterattack, but this gets beaten by Zerglings and Corruptors. So a nice, easy defense, I think, here for Lambo. Yeah, comes on in. Showtime knows that he's been overwhelmed. And that does tie up the series. Lambo, he's still got his World Championship life alive. All right, guys, down here in the bottom left side, representing Shopify Rebellion, this is Lambo. And in the top right, this is Showtime. Guys, of course, I like to use, you know, this amazing thing. Here we are, 2022, and I'm broadcasting video games of the great real-time strategy game to so many people from around the world. So I like to learn little language lessons. Like I just shared one with you, so you guys let me know in your language, native tongue, or another language that you know. If you know another language other than English, if you're a native English speaker, what is your word for waterfall or cascade? Curious to hear some of the different ones. Put it in the comments, chuck it in the Twitch chat. We'll read a few of those back from the live. Wasserfall. Really? It's just Wasserfall. That's amazing. In German. Vattenfall. And make sure you let me know what language it is as well, guys. Is Vattenfall Swedish or something? Dutch, maybe? It's like almost German, but not quite. Spanish is cascada. Oh, that's beautiful. I like that. Fossa. In Faroese. What's Faroese?
Thanks for the
Where's
Bezos
that
box.
from? Wow. Thank you, Blog, for the 5-month resub. Cascade in French as well. Swedish. It was Swedish, the Liam one, which was Vattenfall. Hey, I guess that. Mitsuyan is Hebrew. Mitsuyan. I'm probably butchering it. In Norway, we just call it a foss. The Faroe Islands. All right, guys, we're doing a little bit of a geography lesson after this. I don't know where that is. Apparently 55,000 people live there and they have their own language. Heck yeah, that sounds badass. Check it out. We also had a Vandfald in Danish as well. Okay, we got some cool ones. Vodopad. Very nice. I live near the Cascades, or in the local language, we call them the Bukakis. Oh my god. All right, guys, thanks for the love, and thank you for sharing your lessons up. I'm looking forward to learning some more. In Lithuanian, it's a krioklis, which I'm absolutely butchering as well, I'm sure. Krioklis. I like these. I love it. I love it. All right, guys, it's going to be a very standard opening. Once again, Lambo loves his standard openings. It's Hardwire. It's not a bad map for a Queen Walk. Got way ahead off it in the last game, though. Will he try it? This map's rather long. And the Adept does arrive 2 minutes 50 down here. Spotted the third base already with the probe. And notice how the probe actually hung around a very long time. It's just going home. So he actually made sure there was no speedlings sneaking out, just in case Lambo tried a Ling Flood all in this final deciding game of this best of 3, seeing who will make it to the best of 5 semifinals, and more importantly, who gets the 2 EPT points associated with that. Doesn't sound like a lot of points, but it's going to decide the outcome of these spots in the World Champs. There's a lot of Zerglings, guys. That's 10 Zerglings. That's enough. The moment Ling Speed finishes, he could surround these. Showtime, I don't know if he caught a glimpse there of those Zerglings, but he's going to play it cautious and go home. That is the correct call. He's going to be very happy about that. Because remember, those Adepts can defend his third base, and that will allow his Oracle to go harass across the map. Just going to be a much better use than that last game where, remember, the Oracle had to sit at home and defend his third base. So you look at games like those when you're like, oh, Queen walks in, but it's all about the details in StarCraft, as always. Remember, he lost his 2 Adepts for no real damage. He got like, was it 1 drone and a couple Zerglings? It was not a great Adept dive. Then his Oracle had to stay at home on duty, which meant things like Spore Crawlers could be delayed. He wasn't finding scouting or any early damage. And because of that, it just, you know, it softens your build. It takes all the sharp edges out of it for Lambo, gives him an easier path to victory. Oh, Zerglings here. Oracle number 3 is on the way. Showtime, he's the king of the triple Oracle, is he not? Him and Stats, birds of a feather, tar together. We'll see if he can manage to tar and feather this Zerg player right now. Ooh, 4 drones, not bad, but it's a very bruised Oracle. Even when it's at max shields, it's only going to have 80 hit points now, 79 to be exact. So that does cost him quite a bit. Now, with his third Oracle, where is that? Oh, he's leaving it at home at his third, just to make sure. So many layers of safety to Lambo's play this game. Robo Forge again, man, he's really just trying to play this like one-size-fits-all solid style. He feels like this is the way, and those Europeans are known for just finding these rock-solid ways of playing. Sometimes you need a very creative player to try and pop open a new opening in it, find a new chink in the armor. You need a Bly, you need a Dark, you need a very aggressive kind of risk-taking Zerg. Lambo, he's the master of perfectly planned timing attacks, right? He's not the master of, I'm going to do an unpredictable cheese you've never seen before. It's, I have 4 different timing attacks that could kill you. And yeah, you better watch out for them. But opens up very standard. He's taking a lot of damage. Oh, this is... Oh, Lambo! What is going on? His queen might die to the adepts on there. He's already lost 7 drones to these 2 adepts. My God, a bit of a slow reaction there. There's just the way Showtime postured in on 3 different fronts there, distracted him. And a bit of a slow response there definitely costs him. Okay, guys, what do we got here? Robo Bay there. We've got the gates as well. Fourth base is up really quick, guys. This actually started just after 5 minutes. That's a very good 4th base timing. I think Lambo's going to play a bit more economic. He's played so safe this series. And is it now time for him to say, hey, I'm going to go straight to 85 drones. I'm going to drop a Spire maybe. I don't really feel Ravageling Bane into Viper is that great. I mean, he obviously says, hey, the Vipers just wreck him because he doesn't get feedback. But what if Showtime makes an adjustment and gets that High Templar tech out this time? What if he doesn't go DTs? I think that would be a perfect way to mix things up. Maybe even go for a charge style. 4 drones go down. All 3 Oracles still alive. Look at that. Lambo comes in. Cancels the attempt on a 4th base. Nicely done. Good trap, though. Lambo does bait out 4 force fields and still gets to leave with a handful of Zerglings. And he definitely does deny that 4th base lot. Showtime not going for it now. Isn't that curious? Okay, no, there we go. He does just a bit of hesitation there. He was more focused on, no, hit me Disruptor production, get me Pylons, get me Forge. Showtime, of course, not the sort of guy to tunnel vision. But here we go. 2nd Evo chamber. Like I said, with 81 drones, he's going up to 90 workers and double Evos. Showtime sees it. The double Evo spot here is huge. This tells him so much about Lambo's intention. Showtime gets 7 drones, 8 drones as well. He knows he's up against a Mega Macro Boy. Otherwise, why have you got those double Evo chambers? That being said, he hasn't seen the 4th base, but I think you can safely assume at this point there's even a 5th going down. Infestation Pit is on the way. Lambo still on 82 drones after those 8 drone losses. And Showtime setting up for the defense on the front. Stalker, Disruptor, Focus, DT Shrine. Once again, it is the exact same path that Showtime's taking. It really feels like these guys are both in their comfort zone and they're just kind of dancing. They're rocking back and forwards on from either foot in front of each other, kind of just, you know, dancing back and forwards, waiting for the other player to make a mistake, and that's when they're going to pounce, but no one's wanting to take the big risk. This is a posture. This is not a committed push. He'll back out of there. We know that because there's no Warp Prism, guys. No Warp Prism and just not that many units. Also, where has his investment gone in the last 2 minutes of this game? 4th base, lots of probe production, static defense. None of that's going to help you in an attack. And especially when your upgrade's halfway done, your Warp Prism isn't even out, you've got no forward warp in point, it would have made no sense for Showtime to push right at that moment, especially not on only 4 gateways. All of his extra gateways are just coming down now, and I love that he's got a full wall over here. You got to be careful, though. That pylon's a weak spot. Banelings can blow that up, get right in that mineral line. So putting a gateway down in front of that would really be great. It would force the Banelings to come around from that direction. Lambo looking like he rolled some Banelings in from the right. They got caught. Oh, he gets an Archon that was morphing. Very nice. Drops some Biles, lands on the store because Banelings on the left trying to get in the army here, not trying to mess around. He doesn't want to get caught out, and he's going for that mineral line. There's nowhere to run. He's going to have to recall those. If he doesn't recall them, they're dead. Oh my God, they're so clumped. Showtime! Showtime! Panicking there. Slow reaction, and if he recalled those, he could have saved a lot. If he just hid in the corner and did a quick recall, doesn't matter to which Nexus, even this Nexus, it would have at least spread them around it. Big mistake from Showtime. Loses 19 probes. It's not game ending. He's already got a giant army. He's already got a good economy. He's going to try and push forward. And remember, what does Lambo have? Well, it's just Mass Ravageling Bane. Now, he's committing so much to run buys. I don't think he thinks Showtime is really committing to the push. He's not respecting that. And I think that's a good read because you see Showtime immediately turn around to deal with this. Doesn't get a great trade there, Lambo. Let's look at that units lost tab. So, double efficiency. I mean, that's not the end of the world. You're not meant to be cost efficient. You've got a bigger economy. You're using a more low-tier composition, but if you can get a good surround, that'd be great. I love the hallucinations. Disruptors not getting the biggest hits. A few Banelings, a few Ravagers. They force the spready. Another one comes in, gets a few Roaches and Ravagers on that bottom flank. And he's out of Link Bane right now. The hallucinations tanked a lot of damage. It feels like Lambo here, he's got to quickly remax. He doesn't have the money. He doesn't have the money. He's just getting absolutely wiped. The Ravagerling Bane is not cutting it in this scenario. Should he have been playing Lurkers? Should he not be playing Ravager Bane in a macro straight-up scenario against Showtime? I'm not sure, because he's getting wiped off the board. The Disruptors are landing. Where are the Vipers? I mean, his Adrenal Glands is almost done. He could have had Vipers out with the Ducks. If he could have ducked or Blinding Cloud, that would have changed everything, but we don't see a progression from that Hive Tech. A lot of Ling Bane gets used on the run bys, and we just see that when the Archon count hits a certain number with Disruptors behind it, Ling Bane Ravager looks like shit versus that army. It feels like Lambo here maybe using a composition that is a little bit like some spilt milk. I mean, if you get a 3-second rule, you can lap that shit up real quick, but you leave it there for a few minutes, it's going to get rancid very quickly, and that's what Ravager Ling Bane is. It's an early mid-game, maybe mid-game composition, but the moment the Protoss has a 4th base, you have to panic, and Showtime sealing the deal there. This is so big because this locks him in as 100%, that final European spot, straight to the group stage in the round of 24 of the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice World Championship, which of course will be hosted next month, about 1 month from now, mid-February, depending on when this one makes it out on YouTube, of course. But I really got to look at this and say, hey, if I was Lambo, I'd be freaking out. And obviously, he knows a lot more than me. He's much better at making this style work. But I look at this scenario, similar supply, slight worker lead, double Evo, staying on just Ravager Ling Bane, and you can give me all the Ling Bane upgrades in the world. Once there's 6 Archons in front of Disruptors, I'm not sure if you can do it. Let's watch that final fight one more time as well, actually, because I really do think those hallucinated Archons, I haven't really seen that much before. But for a guy who always misses his force fields, and it feels like his sentries do nothing in big battles, especially once you've got Archons that could accidentally break them, I love this idea of Showtime saying, yeah, let's just make a whole bunch of Archons and see how this does. And let's look at this fight. Now, maybe this just wasn't the right fight for Lambo. Remember, he just threw away a lot of Ling Bane. He has 6 supply, 12 supply and Queens, which are never in the battle. You've always got to factor that in, right? He's also up a good 14 workers. So his army supply is not super incredible, even though he's up in supply, and he's got 20 Zerglings in production. It just doesn't feel like a giant army for the Zerg, does it? Even though a lot of these Archons are kind of lagging behind, this feels like not that big a Zerg army. And there's more Ling Bane behind, so I think he wanted to spread it out so they didn't all come in and clump up. He's got more Ling Roach kind of popping out of the hatcheries. Definitely an interesting situation here and an interesting battle. Let's slow it right down and watch this one more time. Those hallucinations tanking all the Zergling and Baneling attacks on the right side. No Overseer in here, so Lambo, I don't think he had an Overseer. He did not have an Overseer, so he actually had no idea, Lambo, that those were fake Archons. They all look identical to him, guys. They all look identical. We can see it because we're in a replay, the timed life on that. He cannot see that. So he was just like, how do you have so many Archons, bro? And that's actually really, really nice hallucinations to tank damage. Keep in mind, guys, Vipers could have already built, and a few Abducts, a few Blinding Clouds, yeah, definitely maybe could have made the difference here. So GG, well played though. Showtime just with some spectacular straight-up macro play. And I mean, if you're going to decide between 2 German players, the most macro defensive kind of efficiency-focused players, you know, of any nation, if guys are going to play really generic macro styles and just see who's more of a perfect player, see who's going to make less mistakes, it's going to be the Germans. Showtime did win in this match today. Does get the 2-1, gets that spot. GG, well played.